welcome back to VCT, and we're going to 3 because we are 1-1 in this epic matchup between Team Vitality and FUT. And you know what? We got the Turkish map of Ascent, and we got to see how Vitality have grown into their own on Icebox still.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it was a site simulator for basically most
With
of...
that comp, shocking, really. Right?
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
A site simulator. It's classic Icebox. You know, the tried and tested. It works. Just do it. Get into those really nitty-gritty fights. I think the cool thing to talk about this map was about how Vitality was making FUT feel really weird and stressed out because of all the...
There's so many... yourself right now? Did you feel weird?
No. It's just like there's so many abilities that you're not used to. For example, Raze being in the mix, and just you know, you have Gecko stuff coming in, you have KO stuff, like all this stuff is coming in at you, and you're not used to playing against that, so it's hard to kind of deal with it in the moment because it's coming in different waves as well.
Yeah, I like this as well because particularly for that composition, basically the tendencies, the protocols, the timings are all completely different between these two comps. And I think actually where FUT really struggled is where if you can't really get a committed fight before a plant happens with the Sage composition, it kind of just fizzles a little bit. The round kind of gets into a stalemate. If you miss that first wave, it's really difficult. Sometimes if that comes too late on in the round, you don't necessarily have a mid-round. That mid-round's almost sailed you by. So I think it was actually a good contrast between what can be done with both compositions, but I also think Vitality probably played towards the weakness of FUT's comp very well.
I do want to take a look, though, at a classic Turkish round, given that we are celebrating all things Turkish on the broadcast today. It was the final round of that first half, and, yeah, that's when we did see FUT go for it.
Yeah, basically, what was well, I'll say balls to the wall for this one, because this is like, it's not often you see a Sova. But what was it?
Balls o'clock.
Balls o'clock. Okay, I've never heard that one, but but yeah, it's not often you see a Sova getting as involved as this. But again, I mean, it's FUT in around 12, similar to the first one. It's chaotic.
Yeah, when you are playing this map and you're on a composition like what FUT's is you need to keep the pressure on in the post plant, because if you give any space back into the retake and the wingman's able to get onto the spike, and then they're also able to layer all this other abilities at you and swing you while you're trying to swing and deny the fuse, that's when you're going to get taken out of it. And obviously Mr. Fallen going huge here with the Sova, with the shorty. I love a double barrel myself.
I bet you do.
That's caveat on the end.
I know I'm focusing a bit on FUT here, but I'm interested in your thoughts on the Sage wall as well, on that attack side.
Yeah, I mean, it's just to the point now where I don't think you're ever going to see any surprises. And I think Vitality are a team that kind of scream preparation, right? There's not really anything that with this composition they're going to come away and say, right, we need to fix this. If ever Icebox comes up versus FUT, they're going to play this composition. There's not really anything that's going to force the adaptation, right? Force them into a position where they have to switch up and really change the way they approach either the retake or controlling the site before the plant comes in. So in that regard, I think versus Vitality, it's particularly weak to play a composition like this.
Are we going to an even playing field on Sunset still?
It's going to be interesting. I don't think so, and the reason why is because when we saw what Vitality's composition was on Icebox and how FUT struggled there towards the end, especially when Vitality was on defense, I feel like we're going to see something similar if they run, I guess, like any of the comps that they've run a couple of different comps, which were kind of weird, but also FUT's not doing themselves any service right now. The last time they played it, CNET was on Raze. That's always an issue for them. So are they going to just move him to Jet? Are they going to give him a flash character? Or are they still going to run the fade? Those are the questions I'm going to ask before we get to actually see what they're running, because Vitality have been playing very unconventional comps. They're like the only team running Deadlock. I mean, it's on Bind, but...
Yeah, but for me, it's almost like a positive, not necessarily seeing the Deadlock brought out and the map lost, but even just seeing the willingness to kind of toy about and maybe break the mold, be, I don't want to say trendsetters, but at least explore other things.
Is that an accident?
Well, I mean,
were thinking if anyone played Deadlock, it would be Kings.
Yeah, I was going to say, if Vitality that wants to break it out here, but FUT have balls to the wall, right? With this comp.
Okay.
It's not really balls to the wall, is it? It's balls to the net.
I don't Okay, so they're starting on defense. So there has to be a really good plan behind this. Okay,
Yes.
so Team Vitality is doing what they did before. They got the double flasher with the Raze, and it's going to look good. But they have no Sentinel, so they have to look for that on defense. But Foot, they're starting defense. They're running single control. They're getting a Cypher. They didn't run a Cypher. I don't know. I have no idea what to expect from this.
I'm ready for it, though.
Yeah.
Hang on, I got to strap down.
Foot are going to be gathering a lot of information. Right? I feel like that's the most underestimated thing about Deadlock is that information it gives you, the sound cues it does pick up. But let's go to this third and final map and see whose dreams the sun will be setting on tonight with Tombizz and Mitchman.
Well, this is not exactly what I expected coming into today. Seeing a Deadlock, Tom, I'm going to give it to you open-ended because I don't know how I feel about I do know how I feel about this one. I don't like it. It's Mr. Fallen's job to make me like it in the next however many rounds.
Yeah, I think since Chamber, we haven't seen much double Sentinel. And I still didn't expect to be seeing it today. It's very interesting. I think starting on the defense, they're going to be able to deny an awful lot of space. Very good chance you're walking into at least one Sentinel, because they have one on both sides of the map. I think you're going to get a lot of information off the Cypher, but I'm really intrigued to see what ideas they have here, because by most standards, I didn't expect them to play this at all, and definitely not within this map. So I want to see what they've got to offer.
Well, there better be something planned, something up their sleeve for
He's
now.
just left. He's just thrown the wall down and just left.
So he's walled up B main. Ton of control taken on the back of that. You'll see it as it gets broken, so you know that they're not pushing up. And they can now focus on a little bit of a mid fight. Door going down as well, denying some control, caused a lot of bullets to break, and you open to some counterattacks. Vitality, step back, leave mid. They had started to walk up on A, and I thought maybe this is where they execute in, but the spike is coming back as well. It looks like no clear plan just yet. Instead, they were looking for aggression from Foot, for mistakes to be made. They haven't been, so now they've got to force their own mistakes, and they've done a great job at that. Sender! Another lights out round from him, right off rip here on Sunset, leaving Yedege against the world. 3 players, they're coming towards him. This is a big fight for him to try and win.
Yeah, even stopping the plant will be difficult. Oh, 1 HP! Kicks is so lucky to be alive.
Spike planted.
I don't even know what stopped that from being the kill. It must have been the slightest pixel of the wall, but there now needs to be so much more. He is on at the moment. Yedege feeling it already within this clutch scenario. He's going to try and reposition again. The main thing against him, though, is going to be that clock. The time starting to tick down. Spots out Trex, takes a lot of damage himself. Down to just 20 HP. Bear in mind, his opponents are still very close to death, but he's not going to clear the angle of kicks. It got dicey for a second, but Vitality, again, off the back of their IGL, are going to be taking that pistol.
Wow, came close with some individual plays, but Sander definitely takes the cake. 1-0, and a pistol could be so valuable, and so long as they can follow up on it. The opening pick was found by the Deadlock, and that's about the only compliment we'll have for it. And again, I think the issue being, you wall up on B main, and then you wait. And that's all this was, just pumping the brakes from the side of Foot and waiting for Vitality to make a move. Both teams running the clock down and Vitality getting the better of them when it came to crunch time.
This is just the plan. Just throw the wall in and get everything given them every round.
Why not?
But that's the thing. I think one of the strengths that I feel Vitality really had on this map was having a very good default. So I actually don't see much value other than that you get to aggress around the map.
I do think that there's probably a long-term plan here, that wall's going to be thrown out and eventually you'll see some sort of a punish. Like, for example, add a captain with a paranoia. As soon as they start breaking it, if they're using their bullets, they could be a little further away. If they're knifing it, which I doubt, because they'll leave you open to the fight, you get some damage done and follow up on the back of it. Now, I think it's just something Vitality need to be aware of, though. Always stand further back to destroy it, rob that information at the start of the rounds and leave them with nothing to do.
Yeah, the only thing with that, though, is you can do that exact same setup with a trip.
That is very true.
And that stays for the entire round and not just the first, like, 30 seconds. I don't know.
I think the thing is it just takes a while to break, so you can swing on the back of it and try to take them out. But yeah, you're very right. It's very tough to follow up on.
Spike
well,
planted.
this round, at least, we're not expecting much, if anything, especially now into this post plant. Why we love this map. It's very, very difficult to break down from here. Kix just wants to try and claim himself some orbs, and well, there you go. That's already going to be an extra on the board. An extra one there. We'll put his ult online for the next round. Thrash available. And well, they might even want to let someone else kill off Ana Captain. He'll do the same. And an Andalucia Flawless to take over the line their second round.
Nicely done. Yeah, that was more of a formality of a round, right? But the interesting thing is you're saying that Thrash comes online. Big ultimate to try to entry with, especially when you've got those weaker weapons. If they can isolate some duels, it could be in a fantastic spot. Even swinging on the back of it. For Vitality, well, it's definitely the start that they want. 2-0 up. And we've seen pretty much on both maps streaks of rounds swing in either direction. Vitality coming out on the last one with a 13-9 victory. This follow-up, not expecting them to do much.
See you later, Boombot.
With the wall in play, there's not much of a choice here but to spam it down.
It's just general irritation. That seems to be the plan. They put the sensor up top mid with a cam alongside it. Definitely a decent amount of information they can get, although I believe it's already been broken, so they know there's players here. The paranoia is fantastic, but Mr. Farland still able to hit the shot. A second flash, though, and utility forcing them forward. Cracks, though. He's done an amazing job. Splitting him from behind, has found a couple. And now for Kix and Safe. I'll look to take this one together.
Yeah, poor Mr. Fallen kind of got left behind on that strategy. CNED bailed to sight. Mr. Fallen's the sacrificial lamb, and they're trading. I did not expect very much to be found by that Thrash, or the Thrash to be used at all in this round, unless it was a serious opportunity. It hasn't been really connecting onto anything. You can see the information was that CNED's in the corner, but he doesn't even have a reason to move. Although he does. He does move in the end, and he goes down. An opportunity now. They've isolated Ana Captain 2 and taken him. 2 versus 2. Weapons to be retrieved, but that's tough when Krax is still standing.
Yeah, the thing is, even he takes another individual fight. So, don't get me wrong, he hits the shots. Krax does what Krax does, but that got very, very frightening for the side of FUT in a round that looked cemented. Looked clean as well. They had 4 players alive. That's so lucky. It just spams in the general direction of where the paranoia came from. That is going to be a first round now onto the board. Again, we're seeing the same. Actually, they've got a trip alongside the sensor. That's actually quite... I like that as an idea. You break the trip, the sensor goes off.
Yeah. Even as you're breaking it, potentially making noise. That wall, again, an annoyance in the early round, this time sent towards A. And I think the important thing is, if there's not 2 of you there, at least, you can't really destroy that wall. That sensor's interesting, too. Put down an A lobby, so when they destroy the wall and go to march through, first bit of noise that's made, it's giving you the intel and allowing you to crunch on the back of it. Sensor on mid as well, same sort of thing. You never expect anyone to go through there without flashing, at least stepping on the way through a smoke. And that will give you the opportunity for the information.
Yeah, with the trip being broken almost immediately. I now rotate a player to watch. 3 stack up. You can see the aggressive push already coming through from Ana Captain to spot out anything towards A, and it means they can gamble stack for the side of Vitality. Again, just playing the slow default. I think realizing that there's going to be rotations around the map. There's going to be hunts for information. And when it gets into the late round, that's where they're likely to have their most success.
It's funny thinking about how quick FUT were on their attack sides. The other thing cannot be said for the same thing rather cannot be said for Vitality. Much slower, running it down the last few seconds. They've eventually hunted down Yedege, but there's a few more players here to stand and fight. Mr. Fallen, 50 HP, but he stands strong. Now has ult online and will just about make it out alive. Kix going in for the plant and has found it. So that was the little guy going in for it. Mr. Fallen tries to get a position round side, possibly to pop the ult, but instead goes down to Safe. Now the info's there. And in fact, Thrash is going to be used by FUT to try to claim some space. It's clearing out market and not seeing them at all, but they know Safe must have fallen back, so Ana Captain fills the space. Does well to land that shot, and now the defuse begins. It's not on the normal angle, but somehow Sender has just attracted the crosshair to the head of his opponent, and another found, leaving it into the 1v1. As CNED fires back, Kix is left alone. It's almost half, but not quite. Just about pulled off the spike at the wrong time, and now CNED has to go running. The round is no longer winnable as Vitality claim their 3rd.
Yeah, and I think we see some of the weaknesses of Mr. Fallen's kit. He actually does use the ult in the middle, and they break it within like 2 seconds.
Oh, I didn't even see it used it.
They broke it so fast because he used it when there's 3 players, so they immediately just turned, spammed, and then it was gone. So it's one of those ults that it's only really good in isolated positions. I didn't really find anything there. For FUT, it definitely came a little bit close towards the end, but we've seen how strong those post plants are. Sender again, flying, kicks, performing, and well, unfortunately for the side of FUT, their finances are not in the same position. We're going to see a deep wall thrown in, but just with the rest of the utility being thrown out by Deadlock, it is broken within a second.
All right, now we're hitting shots like that. Revenge on Cracks for what he did earlier on. A similar feat. Mr. Fallen was doing the same, but I think he's already been put down in some of these earlier rounds. That Deadlock, I'm curious to see how it pans out in the future rounds. We've only seen 4 so far in this 5th one. Obviously, not like they have a lot to work with. Out of Captain very nearly went down to Decay alongside the Mosh Pit, and tapping that, well, it's only going to bring him closer to death. Best chance probably to pick up one on the counter spam. He tries it, but it hasn't worked out. Another smoke to go into play. Oh, that's a good follow-up, I was going to say, on the Paranoia, but Sender's being caught. Even still, the impact is negligible. There's no chance for this defuse to go down, short of some serious heroics. And CNED, he's given it his best shot, but it's not good enough this time.
Yeah, and more importantly, Mr. Fallen had resorted to just trying to catch them as they rotate away, and that doesn't go to plan either. He's going to be the one to fall, so not really bringing too much through. Obviously, the extra gun for CNED, they've made things a bit more costly, but Vitality should still be able to get a comfortable buy. And we're seeing again just the power of those post plants for this squad. They showed how strong they can be on the last map of Icebox, and I think that's where you're just seeing the depth in play. 4-1. I think expectations are definitely there for both sides on this attack, but when you are running a double Sentinel, for FUT's sake, you kind of hope they at least put something in for the defense.
Yeah, something tells me there's not a lot about this that's built for the attack. I think that value is going to come in defensively. Maybe Mr. Fallen's got some great post-plant trips, or traps, I suppose I should call them, not trips. Yenajay's got none of those to work with if he's being dropped, and so too is out of Captain Mr. Fallen doing just that, and it's a 2 versus 5. Blink. And you'll wonder why the hell there's a clutch being offered up for FUT. Seconds ago, this was an even matchup, and now it seems like we might be looking at another save for that defense. Already stepping forward, the wall up, the post-plant setup inside of main. 5 players still alive. The Thrash, very much online, not even needed.
No, it's second use already, and while Safe again is already going to be lurking through the backline in mid. A fantastic round from Runner. Basically took over it on his own within the market. Just obliterating every single member of FUT. And that's the thing, it does seem like, at least thus far, Yenajay's definitely been struggling. I don't think he's really found his ground on that Sentinel. Well, it's not been much to write home about with this composition thus far from the side of FUT. We were hoping to be proven wrong once again as to why they were running this, and thus far, we've seen the ideas, but not seen the execution of them.
The only execution is being FUT, being executed in most of these rounds. 4 gaps so far. Sender dodging that. He's got support as well. Kix is here, but, well, Kix was here. Down and out just like that. The trade not coming through. But ultimately, in this round, there is only 1 rifle for FUT, and avoiding that may be the best approach. Vitality aren't too concerned about it. Walking through on the B site, walking through on mid as well, and, well, they've met their maker! Yenajay on the double! Sheriff in hand, the flank cleaned up, and CNED closing the round in main. Well, that's a much better round for FUT.
It's the most FUT round ever.
It really is.
I don't know how they did it. They've done it in every single map where they're just not doing well. They're being taken out in these post-plant scenarios, and then you have CNED run up, you have the mid-play watched, and then you have some crazy shots connected. And the thing is, the bait was all there. They were throwing information flashes, everything to just state that there was nobody within. And again, that trap, this time was Yedajay himself. They found a round out of very little. But the thing is this now just going to be back to regular programming? Showstopper immediately thrown in. Trex has got to feel unlucky for that one. And CNED's more than ready for the response.
Oh, they've got to be frustrated. Surely CNED goes down now. Yes, eventually, but the cost is still paid. Yedajay trades it out through the smoke. Sanders being lit as well in that interaction, down to 32 HP. And FUT, they've got success lined up for them. This trap, Heard. Safe knows it's around, but he's going to creep past it. Cam spots him, tries to run away, gets caught by the stun and swung by out of captain. There's your idea.
Yeah.
There's your execution. It was in a 4v2, but it worked. You can't deny that.
And conceptually quite cool. It does revolve somewhat being there, which I do feel like somewhat defeats the purpose a little bit, but...
Hey, you got another Sentinel. Don't worry about it.
Nonetheless, this round looking a lot better. Mr. Fallen even going to close it. And there's going to be a third round on the board. Again, though, a lot of this just comes out of the aggression for FUT. The showstopper into mid, Vitality's response being to try and punish it. In these slow default rounds where they haven't been caught by something early, that's where Vitality have been thriving. And I think obviously here, you can understand it. They get sucked into trying to kill off CNED, get the trade, but that's where FUT thrive, when chaos arises.
Well, those traps have now been spotted as well, so you have to think that Vitality won't be walking up mid anymore, won't be just running through it, giving away those kills. And even if they did, yeah, the traps are not in the same position anymore. Now we can see them on the A site. And it's not quite a retake, but it's something where they look to punish them as the execute comes in. It'll be presumably Yedajay who has to do most of that. There's a trap wire, there's a cam in the elbow, and 2 sonic sensors on the site. They might not be looking to hold on to it, but they will definitely be doing a lot of damage on paper when Vitality come to walk out.
Yeah, I guess for the most part, it's just annoying for Runner. And you'd expect that maybe that's where that showstopper will be used. So if he goes blasting through into the site, could be a little bit problematic. Unfortunately, though, not really going to be anything found whatsoever.
That's a devastating Viper's Pit too. Yeah, the null command got them out on site, cancelled Mr. Fallen and Yedajay's utility. Viper's Pit goes down towards short. So Vitality have got full control. And it's not even the Viper fighting, which again, pet peeve when you see a Viper up close taking those duels. Instead, it's Runner who's going to be point of contact. He's spraying through, doing damage, even popping his showstopper here. The guy is crazy, and he actually won't find any value on this side of the pit. But he goes looking on the other, and the rocket goes through, finds nothing but damage. A little bit. The time is running down, the sprays are landing so much value. And even Safe's gone running out of the pit because the time is so low. It's taking over, the spike is soon to explode, and CNED's trying to keep them contained, keep it costly, but that won't happen. They've made it away just about.
Yeah, in fact, the only person to go down in the end will be Yedajay. Not anything more to be found. But it is one of those sort of rounds from Vitality where they've just thrown everything in. You've utilized the null command to get rid of the utility, you've utilized the showstopper and the Viper's Pit. They wanted to get that one over the line, get their 6th on that attack, and put a spanner in the works. However, this is where things should swing a little bit in the other direction. The only problem, again, with this composition, though, is ult-wise, in terms of high-impact ults, there's only really 2, and neither of them are online right now for the side of FUT.
Disrespectful to Mr. Fallen, but understandable. But so far we have just seen...
Big fan of Annihilation.
Oh, love it, love it. The Cocoon has not found a lot of value. Even in your ranked games, it's probably getting broken a lot of the time.
Yeah,
but
unless you have bad teammates.
True, it never gets broken in mine. But Mr. Fallen has decided to take things into his own hands. Goes swinging, finds the opening pick, that's kicks down. That's a lot of the entry utility for this side, the one that's getting the spike planted for free, that's keeping more guns up in hands and ready to fight when they come to site executes, and that Dizzy down and out of the round. They lose a lot. They make up for it with Sender, and well, Mr. Fallen was waiting. A clean punish, and they still have these traps to deal with on the way through. They've destroyed one. Paint Shell's doing a fantastic job to at least get them on the site.
Yeah, looking like they may even try and aggress a little bit more. In these sort of scenarios, a risk somewhat needs to be taken. We haven't seen much from the grab net thus far. Combined with a flat, Mr. Fallen is just hitting everything. It's his third kill of the round already, safe at least. Trying to put up a bit of a miracle here. Gets his third, but the trade eventually is there for FUT. They will have their fourth. Again, a team gets off to a crazy start, blitzing their way through. But in each of these maps, there's been a climb.
It has. It really has felt like the swing of a pendulum with these teams. They win a bunch of rounds, and it goes right back in the other direction. We end up neck and neck, and it also feels strange in terms of the breathing of the map, of the series. Great attempt by Safe. My God. Almost picked up the triple. And you can see, yeah, there was a moment there, Sal's like, nice round. Well, it was a round. We won it. Or we came close, but got stolen away. No 4K for Safe, no ace, no big play. Two in between them. The side of FUT, they still have those ultis to fall back on. Again, you know, it's not going to help out a ton when it comes to Ada Captain or Yedajay. Mr. Fallen could be situational, but there's a showstopper online for CNED now. Mr. Fallen stays alive in the corner as well. Not going to be caught up by the thrash and stun. No, that's a beautiful cocoon indeed. I don't think they're going to break that, and if they do, Mr. Fallen's waiting to punish Runner down and out. And they still haven't managed to make it out this choke point with Yedajay on the other side. Beautiful crossfire and beautiful execution from this FUT side.
Even a showstopper
sure that was needed.
thrown in for good measure at the end, but I think genuinely what his utility is doing is just enabling his disruptive play. Like that's what Mr. Fallen is doing. It's basically, okay, I can now fight this because I'm going to isolate this person so they can't fight me. And we've seen that with him throwing a grab net in one direction. This time I actually don't mind. Vitality tried to disrespect the barrier. Like they tried to blast back quickly enough and got past it initially. And then the rest of the team had to break it. That's why Runner was there so fast, and they almost catch him with the paranoia. Almost being the critical term.
One of the other problems is that deep nade as well. You see this go through, and getting past that barrier, getting up to destroy it is even going to be delayed a moment. A lot of these guys as well running down to their last mags just from breaking that wall. It's
We've also just got to shoot stuff to try and find the sensors. Yeah, because he's switching where he puts them every round. So it's just like, okay, do I just spam a few top mid?
He's got 32 bullets! Yeah, he decides not to spam it with the Phantom anymore because Safe needs to be pretty precise if he's going to find impact later on.
Yeah, he's had a few multi-kills as well, so most of that was spam.
I think it was CNED who had the one mag ace, no? We had one at least.
Well, I'm sure he has at some point.
That's for sure.
Oh, for now, 50 seconds. A lot of time spent breaking utility, but instead they're going to go back to the bread and butter. I think this is where Vitality had most of their success. Thrash available, though. Instead, they're going to use that Marsh immediately and just spam straight through. Nothing that Trex can do about that. Again, Runner's got ahead of the utility. And Yedajay may be overplaying his hand a little bit. Wanted to try and get close into that corner. It's problematic for Mr. Fallen. He needs the kill and just about survives. And now he's going to go through with the shorty. Catches another. Safe down and everyone will fall. FUT have brought things back from the depths again, and we go in level at the half.
I don't know if we got a top-down view of that mosh pit, but that has to be the unluckiest placement I've ever seen. There was literally one pixel safe. I mean, he stepped to the left, immediately was in it, and went back. Had to just tuck in the corner and wait. Of course Runner doesn't clear it. If you look at that mosh pit position from Runner's POV, and you think there's a guy stood in the corner, you're an idiot. That's almost definitively you're an idiot, but it worked. This time around, I can't believe there was a safe spot in there. That is tragic. 6-6 at the halftime. They've been equalized on after another stellar start from the side of Vitality, the pistol round, and a 5-1 lead. We go into the second half neck and neck.
Yeah, for the most part, I think FUT will be pretty happy with that, especially with how it started. Again, though, the intrigue comes in of what they're going to have going into this attack, because you kind of expected running a double Sentinel to have better defensive sides, but you now have Krax and Cena going into the attack, which that alone can be terrifying.
Pretty nasty defensive wall as well. It's going to let Vitality walk up in B main and take a lot of control. So you can see Footer much more hesitant to clear those angles
Safe
out.
again.
And the bait setup, absolutely beautiful. One player running back and safe, swinging through to save the day. 2 quick kills, and this round is definitely in safe hands.
It's going to take ages to break this, isn't it?
Spike planted.
They can just break the one on the right and get out, but oh, actually, they can just walk around it. That's a little gap. Center, he's going to get hurt. Yedajay already tagged low. Mr. Farlin sat in the backlines. They've got to be wary as well of where Ada Captain is going to be coming from. Time still fairly favorable. Vitality have plenty to play with, but they lose that first duel. Mr. Farlin is trying his best, but just doesn't have the ammunition for that one. Vitality again will take themselves another pistol round. I don't know if there's going to be much invested in the next for FUT.
Explosions.
That was a pretty big mesh as well from Mr. Fallen. It slowed them down. I heard it like 2 or 3 players having to pull it out. And obviously that allowed time for the rotations of Ada Captain to come all the way through. But this setup pretty much finished the round. Beautiful stuff in the market control. And although it comes close to Mr. Fallen, all the other kills came in way too quickly for that one to fall apart. 7 on the board for Vitality. They finally taste victory after 3 in a row for FUT to close out the previous map. For 5 out of the last 6 rounds in that last half went to FUT. They bought themselves right back in to the game, but for now they have to sit on the sidelines with just pistols to play with, classics, and 2 sheriffs. I give them 45% odds to win this round.
Not bad odds. Ada Captain, he's trying to be a little bit cheeky, but I think now those odds probably drop dramatically. They aren't going to be able to take down Safe, but already so much damage. Trex wanting to try and pad the stats a little bit, has got to be careful, but the flash has worked wonderfully. Although Yedajay has managed to retrieve himself a gun, there's a lot of util that could give his position away. No, actually, the Boombot isn't going to find it.
Still, they'll be cautious. The jump peak is coming in periodically. Yedajay, well, even with the timing, it won't work out. 7 bullets left as well. And a Bulldog, that is not enough to take down all these players, but it is enough to take kicks. 8 on the board for Vitality. Right back into things. An injection of rounds here in the defense. They won the first pistol as well. And when you win both pistols on a map, your win rate should be skyrocketing. But I think a lot of that first half canceled out by how he closed it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, coming into a round like this, Tom, 10, maybe I push to 15% odds for most teams. FUT, 45 every time. It feels like it should almost be above 50 with the way that they play those low buy rounds. Their win rate is unbelievable.
Yeah, I think definitely a bit more difficult when it comes to attack side Sunset.
With Deadlock.
There we go, though. Already under pressure. Counter utility forcing them back. 3 players on this side. I think with the Boombot being spotted, they should now know that as well. I think a fair amount of utility has been expended. The flash over the top will be renewed. It's well timed as well. That is perfect. A couple of assists. Yedajay found some space, but Trex just running left and right. And now CNED, normally the first man to fight, is now in a 1v4.
It's so weird, Tom, to just look at this FUT composition on this map, because we talk a lot about teams and their comps and how some of them, we actually said it in the previous map, I believe it was, how, oh, this comp is good for FUT, but most teams maybe won't be able to make it work. This is just not a composition. If you, the game that Kukuka played yesterday with the desk, has this comp being played before? If you gave me an edition of that with FUT and put this comp up a year from now, if I hadn't seen this game, there's not a chance I would think it had. This is not a FUT composition. On the defense, you're sat back, you're waiting. Left. And I feel like what we just saw from Vitality is much more what I like and what I normally see from FUT, which is having these little setups on the weaker rifle rounds where you've got a couple bonus weapons, you come in and you use your Gecko flash, you use your paranoia, you're popping a flash with the KO, and you're just flooding in and taking those fights. That wasn't really something that FUT could do. Like, their aggression was super limited on the defensive side because, well, you're playing double Sentinel. You got to sit back and wait, let them come to you. And I will absolutely applaud them for trying something new. But yeah, conclusions seem pretty apparent.
Seen it. He's made that one at least a little bit more costly for them. You always believe for a second that maybe that man can do something in the 1v4, especially once he gets the spike down, but ultimately it was a bridge too far. Vitality are going to convert their bonus round. Yeah, talking about people who could have maybe cooked up this comp. Maybe old Team Liquid Sliggy.
Yeah.
He cooked some wild stuff back in the day.
And I think, it's not that I actually look at this composition and think it's inherently bad. I think FUT individually have been able to buy some rounds. There's been some good setups. Often I think the utility has come in the late round, but that's perfectly fine as well. It doesn't have to be off-rip activity. But I just think that it's strange to see the identity of a team like FUT, who, to be fair, they had a pretty big shift as well in the past. They used to be known, in fact, their whole region was known as just a bunch of people who run around aiming. They're just better than you, and that's why they'll win. The region that
they
was
win big, lose heavy.
Yes, it was sort of like a region of G2s, right, back in the day. Bunch of aimers. But players like Mr. Fallen come in, they completely change the landscape. FUT, I think, last year became one of the first teams from that region that weren't just Turkish aimers. They're going around, they're doing whatever.
I think credit needs to go to Geist as well.
Absolutely, yes. I think the entire roster of FUT, pre-CNET, this is a roster that managed to change their identity for the better. So I don't want to harp on them that, oh, they changed identity with this comp coming in, and that's bad, and no one should do that. No, of course you need to try new things, and you have to be able to show new faces to how you play this game. And look, at the end of the day, it's 9-6. It's still winnable. I find it hard to separate this composition from the attack side we're about to see. I just don't see it having that same value for this team.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough. Like, I want to see what the ideas are behind that double sentinel. Like, Yedajay being left to lurk, but I feel like we're going to need to see a lot of combinations off of the YouTube. We saw Vitality run it on Bind, and that was the plan a lot of the time. Using that grab net in combination with a nade can work. It's just will it. But for now, at least, this round again, well, they've definitely bought into that Stinger meta. Nade is going to put Safe in a pretty horrific spot, but he still manages to take one, and Trex is immediate in his response to try and trade. The flash is gorgeous as well. Straight in. Going to make things very, very easy for him indeed. Well, sure, there's likely to be another plant. Something at least. Never mind. Trex still going.
Nothing to do with that last kill, but a very well played round by him indeed. Yedajay, nice chance. Nice opportunity. But the spray of the Stinger, it's hard to control the best at times, especially when you can only see the tip of someone's head, and it's not the first player you're shooting at. 10 rounds for Vitality. And yeah, I think what I was going to say is great round by Trex. Look at this. He gets the kill. It's not as clean as I remembered, but the flash afterwards, fall back, reface, take the kill, get back again. He realizes this is an eco. This is Stingers I'm up against. These guys want blood. They're going to run it down. That W key is going to be stuck for the rest of the round, so he just keeps running back, throwing utility, and buying time for his teammates to rotate in and keeping range between him and his opponents. Fantastic flash, and it hasn't quite panned out as expected.
Yeah, it would have. The hope there was to catch someone on the other side and then hit them with the showstopper. The showstopper somewhat connected. Oh, straight away. Now on the other side, and it's immediately denied. Trex again. He is just thriving in this defensive side. Yedajay looking for a timing. He almost finds it, but Safe's reactions are just too fast. The remaining players stuck behind the smoke. Nothing they can do from this point onwards, and, well, this duo of Trex and Safe has been devastating. The newest signing to the Vitality roster. And well,
over there.
It is looking like a good one.
I do, like, look, if they can get to the A site, this could be a more difficult round than expected for Vitality. Still 2 sonic sensors, post-plant around the spike, that can do a lot. Ult as well, wall 2, and 1 less player. And 2 less players. So now it's just Ada Captain, and I'm going to say this is going to be about as easy as you expect. Runner swinging through. It's actually ambitious to call that when it's Ada Captain. He could have aced that round. But 11-6 we go. And yeah, for Vitality, I think this is somewhere that they don't need to panic. They are getting the rounds incrementally. The ults they're up against aren't high-impact ones, and they've got a Viper's Pit and a Thrash to play with.
Yeah, and closing it with an Andaluthia Flawless as well in this one. Their economy is now off the charts. Like, they are in a position where...
And FUT's is wrecked.
Yeah, they've been just almost flawlessly winning a lot of these rounds. There hasn't been a particular amount of damage in most of them. They look very comfortable. And as of yet, I'm yet to see anything from this comp. on the foot side. They are being shut down with every battle they attempt to take. Again, coming in with weaker weapons, but it's still these solo fights. I feel like the counter utility every time they've attempted anything has been fantastic. And well, the trades have been even better.
I know.
Oh. Okay. Yedajay's done a pretty good job with just the Sheriff in hand. Information as well as they start to spot some of these players, and he'll just lurk it out on mid. Plan to come through. Sonic sensors in play, either side. One catching the walk up. I do think his left one's a little aggressive, but it could catch them as they make noise. And yeah, the wall goes up back left to the side. It's an annoyance. They only need to break one leg of it to get through. But it's really Yedajay. How much can he do? They're not going to check it. If you go around that pillar, you're just wasting time. But here, oh no, that's not what you want to see. Because this is a Sheriff still in play for CNET ult for Mr. Fallen. If they can get this close, it could be so winnable for the squad of Foot. It could keep them alive in a round where they didn't look like they had that much of a chance.
I can only assume he's going to try and save it for the spike, but he's been caught. It's done for sure. He's seen it, though, lands both shots. He's given them a way into this. The time is ticking, the nade already onto it. And I think it's too far gone. He's already managed to win the round, even lands the shot at the end. The CNET show is what gives them another. Again, these low buy rounds is where they break the streak. It is both halves they've done that.
Unbelievable. What did I say? 45%. Every time I see weaker weapons in these guys' hands, it means nothing to me, Tom.
It's also annoying because it's never the ults. Like, you look at it and you go, okay, someone goes to defuse, he gets to use Annihilation,
Exactly.
They get caught. No, Cena just headshots 3 people with the Sheriff.
And
Like,
CNET left alone just pops off like it's the Wild West. Ridiculous. They've got Annihilation, Tom.
they do still have the deadlock ult.
I didn't expect this. I should have. I didn't. My mistake. Vitality, 4 rounds ahead. Keep in mind as well for Vitality, Gentlemates, Giant, X, and Koi. That's their remaining games. Relatively easy ones ahead of them, already in a good position in their group. Yedajay, though. Oh, they haven't cleared the corner, and the lurk is sublime. It might not have worked out for him last round with the Sheriff, but a little cleaner with the rifle in hand.
Listening.
He always seems to just have at least 1 or 2 a game where he's just in a position the Vitality forget to check. And as said, he will do it once. They will not forget again. But at this stage, this is the perfect time to have it. Kicks. And the rest of the team are just going to be looking to try and hold on to their weaponry. The only ult used in that round was Thrash, although Krax has got it. He might just use it to try and find someone in this post position. But I think they'll soon realize that nobody's going to be hunting them down here. Now, for Vitality, there is still plenty to play with in terms of weaponry. Maybe Kicks can try and find something here, do a little bit of extra damage. Mr. Fallen looks like he might be the one to peek him, and taking any guns away, to be honest, from Foot more so than Vitality will be the bigger problem.
Yeah, the credit's not so pretty on the attacking side, coming out of that round, but coming into the next one, it's not looking too bad. In fact, oh, yeah, the replay of this is just nasty. In fact, we see Vitality come in with a timeout now.
Yep.
That 3-round lead's a little too close for comfort. It's the last map of the series, and you don't want to see this one slip away. They have fought long and hard for this 3rd map, one we felt we deserved on Icebox, and it has delivered. We're close to having double digits for both teams, but Vitality don't want that dream to be realized.
I think Salah is very good to realize when his team needs a pause, be it for, okay, I've spotted a weakness, or be it, I'm listening to you guys talk after those last couple of rounds, and I want to stop that before anything goes the other way. Because that's the thing. The round before last, where they lose to Pistols, frustrating. Got to be frustrating. Then, you walk down mid, and 2 players immediately die to someone lurking in the corner. Also going to be frustrating. So that's where you have to sort of calm the team. You go, okay, we won 5 rounds in a row. We have been the better side. There's no doubt about it, especially in this defensive half. They have looked phenomenal, and it's 2 blips. But it's very easy to forget that when the game starts to swing the other way. And on the other side of things for Foot, it's been mentioned many a time. This is a team that when they get momentum, it's very difficult to break them. It's very difficult to trip them.
3 rounds in it. Viper's Pit for safe. Annihilation for Mr. Fallen.
Over there.
No way.
Throwing next.
Been online for a while, Tom, I feel.
Yeah.
1 or 2 rounds. Runner not in too much danger. The paranoia is used here to force them back, and in fact, they continue the aggression. Nade burned up. Dizzy was thrown out, and Kix is gone. He has to watch the mid push. So Dizzy's out of the round now. He won't be able to get back there on time, and well, let's see if he even has his life to play with. Yedege, I think he will have seen him cross over with the camera. Small gap in that wall that could lead to it. He's got a late lurk to play with. They fell walking into his play last time. Oh, the blind ult used to try to root out that Viper's pit. It hasn't worked.
No.
Vitality sit in position, but hold on. Trex had no idea where they were. Cracks having slipped past him. Viper's pit, showstopper used, player dropped, and the B side is not even under threat anymore. They're running the other way. Big pressure on Sender to show up, or at least to stay alive if they go past him.
Yeah, he's been good in these scenarios. Oh, he's gonna get the one and get out. It might not have been the cleanest. He doesn't even check. He walks in backwards. That is very surprising. I guess I don't know how he didn't expect them to be that far already. Spam through, but that could be the critical kill. Nice work from Runner. Oh, another from Kix. They've turned it back on its head again. The spams is what done the damage. This man has been waiting the entire round, sitting in mid. The steps, I don't know if Safe will have heard that. I don't think he did. He hasn't turned. Timing going to be absolutely everything here. The peak, it's a little bit disjointed, but they still don't know this man is behind. Both kills are here, and he's going to find them as well. It's Yedege again, always behind you, lurking in the darkness.
This has got to be frustrating to beat Vitality. A clutch pulled off by this man who single-handedly won the previous round. Sitting in mid, catching them pushing. And now he sits in mid. My God, he sat there for a long time, Tom.
I'm not that patient.
I think he fell asleep. I don't know what was going on.
It's crazy as well when we talk about this team. That he's that patient.
Yeah.
Because no one else is. No, their IGL runs in, swinging every angle, like throwing all his util at once. And the Yedege is like, I'm in mid, I'm in mid, I'm in mid, I'm in mid, I'm in mid.
He has literally, he sat behind those boxes in mid the entire round. He did this in multiple rounds where they had pistols. Yedege's patience is second to none on this squad. And now there's a 2-round gap to show for it. It would have been 4 without this man. But one of those Sentinels is, well, is definitely hitting in a different way. Now for Vitality, he scoured down through their credits. It's not the end of the world even losing this one. They've got buys on buys. Sander found the one here last time and then got blindsided by the push on site. This time, they're wise to it. They're giving him a moment.
He's a bit more careful.
Slightly, yeah. I wonder what caused that change in character.
Yeah, he didn't run into the angle backwards.
I dropped the spike.
Now, Nana Captain has taken a little bit of damage. Patient play. This time there's no lurk in mid, but it might even be just the doubt kicks. They need to be a little bit careful here. They are being wrapped on from all angles. Seen it already in, but the Jules just going the way of Foot. And for the remaining players, a little bit further out of the action. Ults to play with as well, and an operator. Unless they get a kill very quickly, I'd be surprised if they continue this push.
And how are you going to entry right now? You're going to flash on Trex. You're going to blast pack in as Runner. Look at the traps. The Sonic sensors are waiting for these players to make it towards the site. Once they take a step, once they make noise, the stone will come through. You're in a lot of danger with Yedege waiting around the corner. Somehow they've got most of them, leaving it all on Mr. Fallen. His utility is no more, not to have impact. And, well, the defuse, undeniable. I need to see that back from Trex's POV, because I'm not sure how he got away with that.
Oh, he just killed 2 people who stood in the same spot.
That's one way to do it, I guess.
I think the flash was perfect, but yeah, it's just the spam. As it goes in, they're completely blind. And this is it, pop flash, both in that corner. He even gets stuns up as he goes, but I don't think it would have mattered. It was the first bullet that did it.
That is rough. That is very rough. And I think a little bit of the security that you feel when you see those traps in play, but beyond that, the flash, what can you do in reaction to that? The fact that they're lined up, obviously you try to dodge that flash, you spin into the corner, you're blind, these things happen. But what a cost to pay. Runner misses the opening shot in for Foot. They can breathe a sigh of relief, but he will set up later.
Deep in the corner.
yeah, it landed this time, I'll tell you that. A showstopper used, and the right move from Vitality just to fall back, let that showstopper fizzle out. And now they play the post plant
Spike
together.
planted.
No ultis to work with for them, but Mr. Fallen grabbing the plant has found his. And Yedege is blocked out by the door closing. Oh! There was a gap there, almost as a bait, but Trex has found everything with it. This should be it. The flank denied means Yedege is coming around in main, and now is the last man standing. Now 1 versus 4, and the flawless streak of FUT comes to an end. Vitality find the win. Look, depends who you ask. It could have been a close matchup today, but I think most people came in with FUT as the favorites. Vitality proving them wrong.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see this roster truly come into fruition. The first week definitely looked a little bit more shaky, but I think Trex, the new boy on the block, has been utterly fantastic. The last couple of maps within this series, I don't know if you could talk more about another player, maybe Safe on this last one. He also played incredibly well. And while FUT came in here, new ideas, attempted something. I don't know if necessarily the comp was what got them the rounds they had on the board, but at the same time, I always like what they come through with. I always like the creativity that is there from Mr. Fallen and guys. Unfortunately, this time, Vitality were just that little bit too good.
The reality is, looking at the group that FUT are in, they're not in a position where they have to play the same. They have to play tight. I like that they come in, try something new, but at the end of the day, Vitality rising to new heights here. Like I said, their tougher games are now behind them. It looks like plain sailings through to the playoffs for this team, and if they play like that, it most certainly will be. For now, that's all we've got time for, Tom. It's been a lot of fun bringing you through this series, seeing Salah with a win, the hope returning to his eyes. And over FUT at that. For now, it's time to toss it off to the post plant. We've got Frankie standing by.
So much. You do have Frankie. We've also got Steel joining me for the post plant as we wait for the boys for Vitality to head to our sofa. Mitch, though, you said you had fun. I'm not so sure you did have fun watching the deadlock on Sunset, but to be honest, Steel, I am glad that we got to see it. Are you? You might not have enjoyed seeing it, but it's kind of nice to see something different, even if it doesn't work.
It's interesting to see something different. I'm happy that people are trying different things. I don't know what the vision was for the deadlock. I could definitely see on attack how they were able to, on defense they were able to get a little bit of space. They're able to use that net to kind of like lock down areas and let CNET go somewhere else. But I saw like we're seeing like layered deadlock and Cypher abilities against the KO ulti. It's like, what's going on here? So I would have liked to see more of it, I guess, or like different things, just to get like a good feel of what can you actually do. What are the limitations of deadlock? You're running a double sentinel. What are the limitations on defense? What are the limitations on attack? How are you going to be setting up CNET, who's on Raze, who played pretty well, but I feel like he played well despite, you know, the lack of like synergy between everything going on. It felt like it came down to a lot of clutch rounds and individual like heroics as opposed to anything to do with the actual composition.
Would you have respected the composition more if we didn't have the Cypher, but we still had the deadlock?
Maybe it could be interesting to see, because a lot of the rounds do come down to these B site post plants. So on defense, maybe you could have these to kind of like negate the ability for people to just run in for free, and then you can use the net on top of the, you know, sonic boom thing, and then get the Raze nade on top of that. There could be cool sort of synergies that you could do there, and obviously being able to lock down a main at the start of the round is also a pretty neat idea. But I'm not sure. I'm not completely sold by the deadlock. I feel like a lot of teams are also in the same boat. Otherwise, we would see deadlock played more.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see FUT of all teams.
Right?
The deadlock. That was definitely the biggest curveball I think I've seen in the 2 days I've been here so far.
When I saw it pop up on the agent select screen, I'm like, oh, Vitality is going deadlock. Wait, what? That's FUT.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But this is the thing that's been discussed about FUT in the past, is that they're a team that can find something that works, and then they keep sticking to it, and other teams catch up with them, and they know how to suss them out. So maybe this is FUT just trying something new and trying to take their enemies by surprise in a way that doesn't involve getting in their face.
It is, but yeah, what you're saying is FUT found the secret recipe, which is CNED go kill. He looks really good on Jet. He looks really good on Chamber when he does that. But then you're putting him on a raise, and it's kind of 50-50 of whether or not you're going to get any sort of like high-level performance out of him. And when you put him on Sage, it's like 80-20, 20% being a good performance. So why not stick to what you know works? The winning formula is CNED on Jett. He played well here, but why not build up everything around it to have him succeed on that Jett? That kind of, if I'm the coach of, you know, FUT, that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out towards. This is the recipe for success. How can we set him up? You know, a lot of teams are running Gecko plus KO, and that could be really good with the double flash combo and being really aggressive. Even if he's going to stay on the raise, you can do something to heavily lean into that sort of approach, but I'm not sure if a double sentinel really lays into that much.
I don't know if we are able to see this while we wait for Vitality, but I would really love to see round number 20 if we can. This is the epic clutch from Yetterjay, because he actually got back-to-back clutches. They win the 50 round, and then after that, it's really on Yetterjay to get them back in the game.
Yeah, so what's basically happening is FUT's getting into the sites, but Vitality doesn't really care about that so much because they have a pretty decent retake comp anyways. So they're going in for their retake, and obviously they have a lot of abilities to work with. They've got Paranoia, they've got Viper Mollies, they've got a wall to cut things off and all these things, and obviously the Gecko utility. So it's very interesting to see kind of how these flanks come into play here from FUT, because that's really what they had to rely on to get these rounds. It's not just a matter of util usage, synergies, stuff like that. It did come down to the backstabs.
I am delighted to say that we've been joined by our two guests in the studio wearing matching glasses. Very impressed with the circular thing going on. I know you two have a history. It turns out you also go glasses shopping together?
Yeah, I mean, me and him go way back with glasses shopping, obviously, and now we're free Turkish shopping in-game as well, so
yeah.
It feels pretty good, actually.
I'm glad it feels good. We've got to talk about the Epic 3-map series. Myself and Steel, we've just been talking about Deadlock. Obviously, you guys have actually run a Deadlock yourselves. It wasn't necessarily her final form. I imagine we'll see teams playing her in. How did you feel when you saw it in Agent Select today?
How did you feel?
I mean, the thing is that, like, we played Deadlock on Bind and we know how it works. So, like, we pretty much, like, as soon as we saw it, we, like, know how it works and, like, what we can do on the map and what benefits them also. So, yeah, I mean, we just get through it on Agent Select and, yeah.
Do you have a conversation with the coach at the time? I mean, was there any kind of the vocal reaction? Because we were surprised here on these sofas.
I mean, the only reaction we had was I said that their Sunset is probably bad, and that's why they're desperate enough to play Deadlock on it, just to try to, like, surprise us. But the thing is, we already played Deadlock, and we know the pros and cons of having a Deadlock on the team. So, like, even if they play the Deadlock, it's not really surprising. And also, like, specifically on Sunset, I think it's kind of weird. But yeah.
So on that topic, did you feel like the veto went the way that you expected it?
Yeah, about that one. I mean, yeah, sure, the veto went great. Like, as a player, I have to say the veto went great. As a person, yeah, I mean, it looked a little shaky maybe, but to be honest, like, the veto was kind of favorable.
I was looking at it and I'm thinking, okay, maybe you guys leave Bind in because they didn't look super strong on Bind either, so maybe you could float that and get something more favorable, but it ended up working for you guys anyways.
Yeah.
It was interesting seeing you go back to Sunset, because last week there was maybe some retake issues, some stuff you needed to figure out. So talk to me about how you plan for that in the week.
I mean, yeah, last week when we played Heretics, like, I felt like we were getting stopped on our retake, just one piece of util, and it was Cypher Trap, which we, like, didn't actually, like, took in mind. So yeah, like, now we went through it, we took it, and like, even now they play the double Sentinel comp, which is like they using these traps on sides, and yeah, it was, like, way easier when we got through it.
Speaking of, well, I guess Sunset, but also the Icebox, you guys run pretty unconventional compositions. Like other teams don't really run what you do. Do you feel like having all the access to all the different abilities from, you know, Raze especially on Icebox, and just having so much abilities for the retakes, do you feel like FUT didn't really properly prep against you guys for your compositions, or did they just play their game too much?
I mean, for me personally, I feel like Footballers is the kind of team that, regardless of like what we play, they're always gonna do their own thing. Like they don't really care about what the enemy does a lot. Sure, like they'll know some tells we do and probably like try to play around that. But themselves, like identity-wise, at least what I feel is that they're always gonna do their own thing. And I mean, I saw that on Icebox. They were just rushing on the same side, and they were forcing us into awkward scenarios. And I was like, okay, well, Footballers is doing Footballers things. So.
A safe simulator on Icebox. Yeah, we were talking about that just before you guys came. Is basically, you know, FUT's winning formula is having CNET being set up for success. So we were talking about why run Cypher Deadlock on a map where CNET's not even on Jet, he's on Raze. Why are they not setting him up properly with other agents, maybe double flash comp like you guys have?
I mean, I don't have an answer for that one, to be honest. I just think that I think that they really didn't have like a proper answer in time for Sunset. I think maybe they thought our Sunset was weird and they just wanted to surprise or do something. Because I don't see any like specific logic behind it. They have a hard time playing mains. They have a hard time going mid. It just doesn't make sense. It's really like, it's really looking at it like from a player perspective. It feels like it's like the one and done. If we win defense 12-0, this is great. If we don't, then good luck in esports.
Yeah.
Can I run it back then and ask why you lost Ascent?
Why we lost Ascent? This one is I would like to activate my rights to not comment on this.
Plead the fifth. You're not American. You don't get to plead the fifth.
I plead the VCT, and I can't comment on it actually. But what I will say is like we thought Ascent was okay, and let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, it looked very close at times. They just.
I mean, we got snowballed.
They're not afraid of you.
No.
On Ascent. I mean, they're not afraid of you on any map, but that's a signature map for them, even though we haven't seen them play it this year.
Yeah.
Until now.
Yeah. I mean, our Ascent is not that bad, to be honest. I think we have a thing where it's like very surprising in the beginning. We always get super surprised if someone comes at us with like doing something fast or doing something like weird for us, or like we get uncomfortable from the beginning. If we start on a back foot, we need to like snowball into the game kind of. So it's hard against Turkish teams, for example, like to have a good start of the game. So I wouldn't say Ascent is bad necessarily. I'd say they're good, maybe.
Yeah, you just don't want to talk about it, apart from to say it's not bad. We're definitely not slagging off your Ascent, don't worry. We're just saying that FUT know and love this map, and they happen to save it for you guys today.
They love us.
They do. Do you love each other?
No.
Just
I mean,
pivoting.
what, like me and my team, or me and
Yeah,
Footballers?
no, you and Trex, actually. I was going to pivot into this.
Do you love me, bro? Don't make it awkward, bro.
That's a strong word.
Okay, do you like me?
Yeah.
He likes me.
That's good to know. Because actually, Trex, did you see Safe's interview where he was talking about you on the show last week?
Yeah, I saw it, and like as soon as he came back to our room, like after we finished, he just said, Trax, did you see what I said about you?
Bro, I'm hyping him up on my free time, on my off time. I'm part-time Trex hype man.
Very one-sided relationship here. Yeah,
I mean, it's okay. I accept his personality.
Okay.
It's okay. It's fine to be one-sided sometimes.
Anything you'd like to say in response? He said good and bad things about your relationship, but he only talked about the good.
I mean, the thing is that like I wanted to play with Safe for a long time, even like last year, and like things just didn't come up, and now I have a opportunity to play with him. So like I'm really happy to be with him in the team. Like as he said, it's good and bad things, but yeah, I think it's good overall.
So instead of kind of, I guess, dwelling on the past so much, in the future, you guys have Giant X, Koi, Gentlemates remaining. So how do you guys feel about kind of like your chances to get a really good position into playoffs and just closing out the rest of the year? Obviously not trying to jinx it.
What do we have? Giants, Koi, and who?
I think
Gentlemates?
Gentlemates?
I think it looks pretty stable, to be honest, from the people we have left. Like, obviously, you never know in a game of Valorant what could occur. I mean, it's...
Yeah, so we could pick a deadlock.
No, that's not happening. Or maybe that's happening, actually. I can't confirm or deny. All I'm saying is, you never know what happened in a game of Valorant. In terms of what it's like, what it feels for me is like, it should be pretty straightforward. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Do you feel more confident now than you did in week one? Because obviously week 1 was a bit of a setback for you guys, but I don't know if that shook your confidence in any way.
No, I think we're the type of team that needs to get slapped to come back stronger. Like, definitely, I feel like the people we have in our team are people that only learn if they go through trial and tribulations. I feel like, genuinely, like, we need to lose so hard or like do something so embarrassingly bad that people are like, oh, we're never doing this again, or like, oh, this is how you approach it differently. And to be honest, I feel like it was small things week 1. It wasn't like super big things. It's small things that change the bigger picture. But like we're very fast on working on these issues, I feel.
It's been really interesting to watch the development this year of the team, especially Sunder now stepping into that IGL role. How much has he changed in the way that he's calling games and organising you guys on the server since the start of kickoff?
What do you feel?
I mean, I feel like overall how Sander calls, like I like the way he goes. I like the way mid-round, like the way mid-round he understands how to manipulate people, and like it really fits my how to say, how I approach the game. So yeah, like in general, I just like how Sander calls like those mini stuff, and yeah.
Speaking of kind of IGLing and calling, who ends up coming up with all the compositions? Is it like a group effort that you guys all kind of like pitch into, or is it like coach or IGL or someone that's like, you're doing this, and you're like, fine?
Trex, answer this question.
I mean, to be honest, like on some maps, players come up with a idea of what comp we should run on in this map, and sometimes it's like more coaching stuff. But yeah, I feel like it's 50-50, I'd say.
50-50, okay.
I love, by the way, Safe, how you're delegating questions to Trex.
I mean,
Is this
What a great
normal?
mid-rounder
Does
right
this
there.
happen every day in your everyday life
you
on
have to
Vitality?
delegate efforts. That's what I told the guys as well. I said, guys, an emperor doesn't go around doing things. He delegates. I'm not saying I'm an emperor. I'm just saying.
I mean,
I'm just
listen.
saying-
Sounds like you're saying you're an
No,
emperor.
I'm just saying that you need to delegate tasks in order to have maximum efficiency in a team. That's all I'm saying.
I'm learning a lot about how to do my job as a desk host now. I have maximised my efficiency by speaking as little as possible and getting Josh to do as much of it as I can. Before we take a look actually at the question that Navi set for you last night, we are asking pretty much everyone about this because next week we're going to see Clove available to pick in Agent Select. So I just wanted to get your thoughts, given that you love an unpredictable composition.
About Clove?
Yeah.
I think Clove is a fantastic agent that should be played by a lot of teams because she's so great at smoking when she's dead. So maybe Angel would be interested. Actually.
Oh, really?
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. Oh no, honestly, listen, it's an okay agent. It's just for me personally, I think it works with double controller. It doesn't work alone.
Yeah.
She has like no other like util to actually set someone up or do something. Like no blind, no actual proper things, no Astra pull, concuss, things like this.
But maybe if you're not thinking of them as a controller, and you're just thinking about their kit instead of thinking that traditional sense of different agent roles.
Reyna with smokes.
It's Reyna.
Yeah.
It's Reyna with smokes, and yeah, then if you have like a Reyna Harbor comp on bind, for example, or something like Paper X something, then you could probably pitch her in instead of a Reyna. Like anywhere Reyna is, you could just throw her in. I feel, even though you don't have the blinds, but it's fine.
Yeah. Would you like to hear from Angel?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. Well, Angel set a question for you last night, so let's see what he said.
That one, yeah.
Guys, let's go play football next Friday. Team versus team.
Lovely, we got it. Yeah. I mean, that's probably. I was expecting drama, and you gave me one of the most.
Apparently, you're actually you are rivals on the football pitch already.
Yes. So the thing is, I wasn't there last game they played between Vitality and Navi, but obviously I will be here on Friday, and I'm gonna show Grandpa how to play some football. So I hope he's ready. I hope he comes with the high socks, knee high, and get
Shin
ready
pads?
for me. Yeah, no, we're gonna wreck them. So.
Okay. Trax, are you the secret weapon of the Vitality football side?
No, not really. I think we have one guy who is actually this kind of guy, but yeah, we'll see.
Who's that?
It's gonna be secret.
Secret, okay.
Ah, but don't you have a training facility at like the Stade de France? Have you ever got to play there?
Yes, I have played there. He didn't play there.
So, I mean, Angel, if the challenge still stands, you could probably go over to Vitality's home. We could make this football match an actual thing.
Actual content.
Yeah, I think we could actually maybe make this thing a thing in the future. So hopefully someone from Vitality is watching this and can make this happen. You know what we need to do now, though? We need to get you guys to record a question for the guest that's going to be on tomorrow's post-bomb.
Who is it? Oh, we don't know.
We don't know yet. The matchup, it's going to be Liquid or Giant X.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Fanatical Koi, apologies. That's going to be our second matchup tomorrow is actually Fanatical
Fnatic or Koi? What should we ask? I don't know.
You'll be in this camera when...
Why don't you delegate to Trex like we've been doing all
Trex,
post-plant?
ask a question.
I'm not taking that question.
Okay, I'll take the question.
Okay,
Wait, so I'm supposed
into
to
this question here.
Okay. Wait. I'm supposed... No?
Yeah,
What am I
we're recording. We are actually live on the internet.
Oh,
People
we're live.
People can watch
I
this
can't.
whole
Okay.
entire conversation.
But am I supposed to like think of a question, or am I supposed to read?
No,
supposed
you're
to
meant
say a
to.
question.
Yeah, you're paid
Ask
to
a
lead,
question.
not to read. Ask a question
Ask a question to who? I'm so
to
confused.
whoever wins from tomorrow's
Listen,
game.
guys, to whoever wins.
Koi or Fnatic is going to answer this question.
Would you like to? So many terrible words. Would you take a photo with me? Would you take a photo with us, with me? Would you sign my?
I mean, I would love to, but the
feel
question,
so
you're
awkward.
sort of saying it to me.
Wait,
we're going to get that one more time.
Who has to transcribe the question for them?
Which camera am I supposed to look at?
This one, okay?
one.
You've had a couple of practice runs. I give you a 6 out of 10. In
Okay.
3,
The red light.
2, 1, you're live.
Would you like to take a photo with me, or maybe sign my jersey, or something like that? Maybe not my jersey. It's not anything. Take a photo with me.
Trex, this boy has no game.
Would
Where's
you
the wrist?
maybe like to,
Where's the
I don't know,
wrist?
like if you want to, like go to the prom with me?
Bro, I just don't know what to ask. Like, they're the ops. I hope you understand. Like, at some
This-
point, this is the enemy we're talking about. We're in a battlefield. Like, you can't tell me, ask the enemies to take a photo with me or ask them anything at all.
I love how I've heard so much about Safe.
Ask them if they want to step
year.
up into the ring with you.
Guys, listen, if there was ever... No, but that's violence.
Well, you can use the big padded ones.
Listen,
You
let's
could do
use...
sumo
We
wrestling.
could use, like, Blastix, like, gloves to fight each other.
Or put on the sumo suits,
Would
yeah.
anyone like to step in the ring with me? I will... We can make this a whole thing. We can go in, like, I don't know, some form of arena format and just fight.
You know what I really love?
What?
That in this segment, you've showed you've got no chat when it comes to asking people direct questions. We've set up a potential football match at the Stade de France. And you also challenged everyone in VCT to a fight. Is anything you would like to say before we sign off, Trex?
This is peak safe, by the way.
No comments.
No comment.
Oh, wait,
Fabulous.
I have to say one thing, though. One last thing.
At some point, we're going to go home. What would you like to
One
say?
last thing. A big shout out to our assistant coach, Harry. He's the MVP of today, and we did this one for him. He's been in a pretty rough spot, but we've been looking out for him a lot, so this one means a lot to us and to him. So, yeah, shout out, Harry.
Let's go, Harry.
Listen, I would happily do another hour of this, but everyone wants to go home. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you guys for joining us. Congratulations on the winners. It's been a pleasure. You can keep the crown if you want. We will see you guys tomorrow for the final couple of matches of week 3. But until then, sayonara.
Two, one,